phones? Okay, good. So, we'll just wait till it comes back. But we can continue. Is that okay with you? Okay. All right, so integrated skills are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You know this. Now, I have a question for you. Can you, in every lesson, can you have all four?
Sometimes.
So when you read the integrated skills, it means that we use the two or more skills at the same time.
Exactly.
For example, maybe while listening, we will write down. Maybe while speaking, somebody others listen and take notes.
Exactly. So it's not often, I should say often, not always, but it's not often possible to have all four. But sometimes, actually, if you look at a lot of activities we've been doing together, you do have all four. But it's not expected, right? But it's a good idea when we can integrate at least two skills. Yes? Two or three, or if we can do four, fantastic. But the goal is not to have all four all the time. So those four things are skills. Okay? So the part of this afternoon is skills, systems, and approaches, right? So you understand the skills. Yes? Now, systems. What are systems? So if those are skills, I wrote it for you because I don't want you to try to guess. Systems are things like grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, discourse. What is this word? It might be a new word for some of you. Does anybody?
Discussion.
Style, okay, it's close to styles. Say it again. Okay, very good. So discourse is specifically how we use the language. Remember how if we know the words, imagine somebody memorizes a bunch of English words. And they memorize that it's SOV language, right? Which means we do subject, object, verb, for instance, right? And they recognize all this, they memorize all these things, but they have no idea how to use it. Like, when is the proper time to say hello? When is proper time to thank somebody? How do we actually pause at which moments? All of those ideas, when and how to use the language, is discourse. And it's actually, it's a field of study within linguistics. So it's a study of language, but it's appropriate ways of using the language. And it's super interesting, and it's connected to language like this. You can't live without it. This is why we talk about culture, yes? Knowing when to use it. How to use it. Not only knowing the words, but how do you actually use it? Okay, so those are the systems. And in fact, you can think of it, I'm going to draw right here. You can think of it like an umbrella. Let's see if I can draw an umbrella, something like this, yes? Okay. One of the Govhards is really good artist, as long as she doesn't make fun of my umbrella. So this is an umbrella. All of those are like an umbrella to those. So grammar is important for all of this. So I should have drawn it here. Pronunciation is important in all of those. Vocabulary is important in all of those. Discourse, right? So when we ask you what are the systems, this is what we're talking about. And when we say the skills, we're talking specifically about reading, writing, listening, speaking. So I don't want you to confuse the two. This four things go with all of them. They're above it all. Okay? Because we teach grammar, for example, let me repeat just to make sure it's clear. We teach grammar through reading sometimes, correct? Sometimes we teach it through writing, often. Sometimes by listening. Sometimes by speaking. But we don't necessarily teach reading through grammar. This is not above this one. Right? We don't teach reading through pronunciation. It's other way. We teach pronunciation through reading. Do we? Do we teaching through writing? Yeah, sometimes, right? Because write that and then learn how to pronounce. Through listening, for sure. Through speaking, for sure. Do we teach vocabulary through those? Yes. Do we teach discourse? Yes. So again, these four are the umbrella for the skills. So this is the difference between skills and systems. So you don't confuse it, okay? I want to make sure you understand the difference because it comes up, I believe it's part of your assessment. For this module, okay? But also I just want you to understand it, not just for the assessment, but I know this was a little bit confusing last time for the group. Okay, and then we have these other words that I want you to understand. We have theory, approaches, and methods. We talked about this already, remember?
Yes.
Do you remember what we said about, let's start with theory. So what's the difference? In your own words, if you remember, about a week ago we talked about this, a few days ago, the difference between theory, approach, and methods.
Theory is belief.
Theory is a belief, okay?
Ideas about something.
Ideas about something, okay? What else? What other words can you use? Concept, okay?
Theory based on science.
Okay, it's often belief, it's often based on science or research, yeah?
Scientific approach.
Okay, sorry, I know you can't see this in the back, but, okay, what about approach? What is approach? Way, okay. And you can remember this word because I can say to you, I'm approaching you. This is a verb, yeah? I'm approaching a tree. Or I can call you and say, I'm approaching your house. I should be there in 5 minutes. So it's a good way to remember approach is a journey that we take. What kind of journey? So in the classroom, so give me some examples of theory. Give me approaches. Right? Or even things like a lecture. Or inductive versus deductive. Those are approaches. How you decide to teach, for example. Techniques could be part of this. Yes, absolutely. Techniques. Now, then what is methods?
Way of teaching approach.
It's part of approach.
It's
also the theory. Way of teaching.
way of teaching.
Yeah, but we said way here. So what's the difference? You're right.
It's a little bit.
We can approach with different methods. How to
Okay.
like you son.
Okay, you can also, so you can teach, okay, let me ask you this. Give me some methods. You learned some methods today. TBI? TPR, oh, TPR, okay, yes, what else? What were on the left? Remember that, did Armin give you a graph at the end? Yeah, tell me some on the left. Those are new ones. Okay. Okay, post-classroom methods. Okay, good. So, theory is based often on psychology, on research, on science, like literally how our brain works. Literally how the language acquisition happens, yes? And we decide on different theories. Scientists, linguists, philologists decide on theories, correct? Then we choose what kind of approach, what kind of way, what kind of techniques we're gonna have in our classroom. And these approaches result in a method that we have. So it is also a way, this is why I said, well, what's the difference? It is a way, TPR is a way of teaching, but you could use different approaches to it.
Its characteristic of, for example, characters by inductive.
For instance, yes, so TPR is a certain method of teaching, yes? You can say, well, in TPR, the approach that's used is inductive, okay? So approaches are different things like inductive, deductive, lecture, descriptive, prescriptive, right? Sometimes you can teach the same method with different approaches. It's possible. You can say, okay, so just a PDF, I could teach it, it was this approach or this approach. But sometimes methods have one very specific approach. Okay? If this is still a little bit unclear, just think about it. It doesn't have to be like rock clear. Do you know what I mean by rock clear? It doesn't have to be so clear that you're like, it's exactly in categories, but I want you, because it is a little bit flexible, but I do want you to understand that it goes from this to this to this. Okay? The method is your final thing, like this is the method I use. Now, in your classroom, is there only one method? No, you shouldn't have only one method. Why? Why would you limit yourself? Yes? Because we want you to have what kind of classroom? Remember this term? Somebody said it a minute ago. Post methods. Post methods, yeah? So methods, there's many methods. Let's say there's 10, 20. We want you to have post methods, which means use many methods. On Monday, use one method. On Tuesday, use different method. Yeah, I'm joking, but you decide.
We decide how to organize a lesson with direct and with post methods, historical or modern methods.
For instance, yes, and you decide which methods.
It's post method.
Yeah, post method just means you are the boss. Honestly, I would avoid historical methods. There's a reason they're historical. We call them historical. We want you to concentrate, if possible, on modern methods. Now, you can mix different modern methods. There's many modern methods.
Arman used metaphor in one word buffet.
Uh-huh.
When we go around the buffet, we just choose a
Yes, yes, like a buffet, yes. You pick whichever one you want. Now, you don't pick randomly, right? You pick methodically. Because you decide on the level. Remember, there's different stages of your students. What stage are they in? Also, you decide by their age, right? Because different ages do better with different things. Okay, so yes, post method. So the method you use in the classroom and approaches you use for that method. Is that kind of clear? So skills versus systems versus approaches? And also theory and methods, but I think you know this already. Okay? So if it's still a little bit confusing, just think about it, draw it visually, see what makes sense to you. Yeah? But I want it to be clear for you. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is talk about 7 different, sorry, I know you're trying to take a photo. We're going to talk about 7 different kind of skills, approaches, and methods. Okay, it's a combination. And to do this, we're going to use this activity, or it's a way of learning, but it's an activity, numbered heads together. And I'm going to tell you what will happen. But first, I need to make sure we have 7 groups. And I know you've been sitting at this table all day, yes?
No.
Did you switch once? You did? Okay. But the last activity you were at this table?
No.
Yes, I think so. Okay. I think we're going to change, yes. So why do we switch you up? Why do we change things? Socialize, new people, yes? Integrate, you learn from each other, all of those reasons. Okay, good. So I need 7 groups for this. Oh, I forgot something in the room. I'll have to run to the room. But that's okay. For this group, or for this activity, let's count to 7. This will be the easiest for this one. And I will tell you which table is which. Don't assume this is 1, okay? All right, 1,
2, 3, 4, 6,
5.
5,
6,
6, 7,
1. Не была слышна.
7, 1.
Скорее.
You're 1, please. 6. We go to 7, 7. 1. I know I'm jumping.
4.
Origami?
4. Higher order thinking.
2, okay?
We
All
are
right,
big.
so I So the groups for this, let's start one over here. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6.
At back. Anındaki fotoğrafı hiç kim yok mu?
Nima bor? Modraka? O'zi boya taqib keluvdim. Shu bo'shatmadi. Nasib pishirdik. Olib turib tushunmayapman-da.
Çünkü buraya şöyle net. Hiç kısıksız.
20
Kimden süresen bornayman değil mi? 25 dakika çıktı. Ama 25'ten süregen bana mı geldi? Minyak da
Okay, no problem. We can do without internet, yes? Of course we can. All right, so do I have all my groups? So why are you sitting there? What group are you? 7? Please join your group. Okay, so if you go to your, is everybody with me? Eyes on me? Eyes on me. All right, in your book, I can't show it to you, but in your book, you have, I'm going to tell you the page. 5, 6, exactly. Let me tell you what's going to happen, okay? It's not a jigsaw, it's a little bit different. It's called integrated heads together. It's just a different way of doing something. So before you start, let me explain how it will happen, okay? So we have 7 groups, correct? There are 7 different topics in that reading. I want all of you, everybody in the group, you're going to read all 7 individually. Now, as you read it, and I'm going to give you autonomy to time yourself, as you read it, each one has a question. As a group, as a table, you need to answer the question as a group, okay? You need to come up with an answer to that question. Afterwards, I'm going to randomly do the following. There's 7 groups, yes? And there are 7 questions. Within each one of you, I'm going to have you, each one of you is going to have a number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When we're finished, I'm going to randomly pick a group, okay? And then I will randomly pick a question. There's 7 of them, yes? And I will randomly pick a person to give an answer for that group. Now, this activity is really good because you all study, yes? You all discuss together. But instead of kind of volunteers, for example, students don't know which group will answer which question. So everybody has to prepare because it's important information. And whoever gets picked from the group, yes, that person has to answer for the whole group. Okay? So to get started, you're going to have about 15 minutes as a group again to first read, yes, individually, each section, and then give an answer to that question as a group, collectively. together as a group. They are new ideas, so you will need each other's help, okay? Are you ready? All right. I'm gonna turn the air on. connect to my hotspot. Well, I don't need all of it, right? So it's just this stuff.
But I meant, if I can get you stuff, you can put it on the USB and show it.
Right, so I don't need all of it.
I just made this. 2 minutes. I'll just download
All
the
of it.
module,
Okay.
put it on this, and then you can.
Okay,
Does that sound good?
that works. it though. Yeah.
I know, but it could be.
Right. That would be awesome. Thank you. Please read. Yeah?
Please switch off the air conditioner.
Okay, that's all I was gonna talk about it more. And also discuss with them, maybe they understand. A lot of these ideas are new, right, to you, so it's okay if you're kind of confused, we're still learning about them. You done? You're done reading all of them, okay. I would read it again then, because it's a lot of information. As soon as everybody's done reading in your group, what are you gonna do? Together, though, please, yes? I want you to answer them together as a group, not individually. Yeah, you might need paper. I'll give you some paper.
Confused with the project based, task based, project
Yeah, you can download it.
No, the problem is that, is your computer have a
Can you
USB?
just ask them what that is?
He doesn't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I can ask, they don't know. But does your computer have a USB port? Cause mine doesn't.
Yours doesn't.
Does yours have one? 'Cause I could just.
You know what, it does, but I would need to go get the. I'm actually connecting to my hotspot, but it is back. How can you tell?
I see something else.
Oh, that's through my hotspot, I'm trying to connect to my hotspot. It'll come back. I can totally adjust my.
Yeah, but it's annoying. So if you want me to download on your computer, then I should just get it on USB, because I don't have.
I don't have it, I mean, it'll take me too long to go try and get USB. If you can do it for
Oh,
me.
no, I have to do it.
It would take me too long to find, it's
You
a,
have the same problem.
yeah, it's a new one.
Okay.
So if you can't do it, then,
Yeah. The only thought I had is send it.
they have it in the book, and I can adjust things, I'm like pretty good at it. Because I don't have it.
I was trying to help.
It is helpful if you can do it.
Yeah, but I have the same problem.
You know,
How does it go in?
oh, thanks,
I tried.
yes. I'll see if my hotspot, usually sometimes lights go out here. Sometimes like within 10 minutes. Internet usually. You did ask them and they told me no, because usually I have to call them and they'll switch it on and off.
He doesn't do it.
Well, I don't want to disrupt them. I'll just keep going. I'm fine without computers. I'll just change things. Oh, you have it on, but I can't open.
Yeah.
Some, because there's one thing I need to read, so that one. Thank you. That's helpful. Do you guys need some paper to answer questions? Here's some paper. It's just use other side, yeah? I'm trying to. Here's some paper you need to answer questions.
Yeah. Soft skills. Can you think of other soft skills for me? Skills of reading, writing, speaking, and writing. Listening.
So here within each of four skills, there are several soft skills. They give, that means they are giving yes. For example, important for spoken interaction. Speaking, understanding non-verbal skills.
Çilegiler bile değil mi? Aynen abi. Speaking bilan nimaga buni o'zini so'rasak, writing bilan unanga. Reading mi? languages can you use? O'shada different types of reading, using different reading.
O'sha ham skilllarga kiradi-ku, baribir ichki analarni yozsak bo'lmaydi.
Using different techniques of reading. O texnika
Shu readingni kichkina bir anosida bo'lsa kerak baribir.
reading was extensive, intensive reading bo'linadi. Note bo'lsa bo'lmaydi, notes. Take notes. Listening.
Reading bo'lsa, writing.
Writing.
Writing haligi. What was grammar?
O'rgan. Qaysiga
Writing ichiga kirgizsak bo'ladi-ku shuni. Yo, baribir grammatikani to'g'ri qo'llash ham eng muhimi-ku, writing ichida.
ha, o'sha writing
Grammar desa bo'ladi. Grammar system.
Yo, baribir grammatikani to'g'ri qo'llashi tekshiriladi-ku asosiy writingda.
System between
Speaking ham. Shu aytganki, non-verbal cues ana shu-ku.
Writing depends on system including grammar. Grammar, vocabulary.
Depends on
system including grammar.
Reading bilan writing qoladi.
shu orqali ham ana qilinadi deb tushuntirdi-ku.
Grammar, vocabulary. Good.
How to use English in classroom.
Hay, nimaga? Nimaydi?
Everywhere.
Listening bilan speakingga buni ichidagina aytsak, reading bilan writingga o'zimizdan aytsak, bular shuncha. Ikkinchisiga o'taylik.
Speaking yozyapsizmi?
Extensive reading be a sub skill.
Those are the skills, but what are sub things that you do under those? Sub means under.
So can you say writing?
Yes, what you will do.
Can you say writing is based on the system including grammar?
For instance, yes, so that's a system, then it's a skill. And what's a sub skill? But what's a sub skill of writing? How do you use writing? What is sub skill? Try to answer. If not, I will help you. For instance, make up sentences. Okay, that's a sub skill of writing. Okay? It's not what? It's also technique, but it's also sub skill. It's a skill. You're teaching them how to make sentences. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah? Try to answer on your own. If not, I will help you at the end, okay? Yeah.
Unda listeningga eshitib gapirib berib bo'lar ekan. O'zi kichkinacha berdi, o'zingni gaping bilan gapirib ber. Uchta tuttirsak bo'ldi, pensiyaga.
O'sha aytaman, listeningga o'zimizdan aytamiz, turgan odam ikkiga o'taylik.
Or it could be something that you use under
Listening.
What is the sub skill? How do you use it? So, pronunciation is not a skill. Talking. What is pronunciation? Remember, it was
Ikkiga o'taylik. Can you think of an activity that requires students to practice both the skills?
under skills. How do you use it?
Mana buni ichidagidan ham ishlatsak bo'ladi-ku.
to'ldiradi o'zi.
So I'm trying to tell you.
Ikkiga kelsak,
Writing. What are different ways that you use writing? So those are stuff. Just try to answer if not
Activity'da ko'rsatib berish kerak.
masalan, jigsaw gramma bilan bo'ladi, bog'lasa. Speaking bilan ham bo'ladi.
Men anani ham o'yladimda, running dictation bor-ku, hammasini o'z ichiga oladi-ku. Borib o'qib keladi, kelib aytib turadi, eshitadi-da, yozadi. 4 tani ham kiradi. Endi sistemni bog'lash kerakmi buni?
Bu bana yozib bilan which skills necessary to guide our LLC. LLC'ga boshlayapti hammasi. Qo'llanish. Bu
Answer the questions.
your class it leads to communicative competence. Communicative operati. Skill'dan sistem.
Mana bunday yozdim.
Faqat
Running dictation yozdim, skills hammasini qamrab olyapti, sistemda mana shulardan foydalanyapti. Diskurs nimaliga tushunmaganim uchun yozmadim. Keywords yozaylik.
Both reading and writing is the same lesson about the same topic. Bitta darsda bitta topikda reading and
They emotional learners. Running dictation deydi.
boshqasini yozyapti, yozib bo'ldi.
Bunday eganda bitta savol tushadi ko'zaga. 3 tushsa ham shuni bog'lab ketamiz, 2 tushsa ham shuni bog'lab ketamiz bular bo'lmasam shu qolsa.
Speaking bilan listening bo'ladi. Speaking bilan listening bo'ladi.
Can you think of a way for your learners to practice? Nima? To practice both reading and writing in the same lesson.
Fill in the gap. Ham read qiladida, ham complete qiladi.
Reading and writing, yeah.
Reading bajarayotgan vaqtda writing qilish kerak.
To'g'ri o'qiganlarga bittadan yozadi. Ishlash kerak.
Jigsaw kerak bo'ladi. Haligi debunk jigsaw yozdik-ku kechagida.
Listening and writing yani shuni qilsak bo'lar ekan, Jigsaw. Filling gaps uni ham to'g'ri kelar ekan.
Debunk jigsaw ni yozingda kecha bajardik.
Yozaylik.
Home group, extra group, home group qildik-ku.
Listening, speaking each other.
Reading, writing.
Reading, speaking each other.
Reading,
Debunk.
listening, writing each other.
Boyagiga ham, birinchisiga ham yozib qo'yay uni ham.
Expert gruplarda masalan
Reading ya.
note qildik-ku. Reading, speaking ham turadi,
Reading and nimaga dedingiz? Debunk. Yo'qda.
Okay.
O'zi tugatdim. O'zi ishlamay tushunmadim. O'zi aytadi.
All right, I only have one clapper here. Can I get all of you? Okay, great. Tell me how you're doing. How much have you answered? Okay, no problem. No problem. This is why I ask, yes? So, but I just want to know, just so I can gauge, yeah? Tell me if you've answered the first two, maybe.
Yep.
Yes?
First 3.
Tell me if you've answered 3. Raise your hand. As a group. What's going on with the last group? Okay. What if you've answered 4? 4? 5? 5. Okay. So I am going to give you more time. It's okay. Because I must adjust things as well because internet is not working, but that's okay. I need somebody's help though. Nargiza 51, where are you? Nargiza, the new Nargiza. Nargiza, can you please tell me when the 10 minutes are finished? It's an easy task. I just want you to be my timekeeper. It's okay with you?
Qo'ygan
So
yozaveraylik
in 10
to'rtga.
minutes, make sure your phone is on.
Communicative language teachingda
10 more
teaching
minutes for 2
role.
questions. That should be okay, yes? Now, listen.
14.
Couple of you came to me and asked me for answers. I don't want to give you answers. This is why. Because I want you to try to answer it. And then together we will come up with answers, okay? So 10 more minutes, Nargiza, please. Yes. Yes, we have it. Good.
Kommunikativda more nima deyman?
Kommunikatif bilanmi? Kommunikatif language'da past passive bilan
Buni qildikmi mana uni?
O'z buni yozib olaylik. Birinchi giving instruction birinchi faqat instruction beradida, keyin chetroqqa chiqyapti, o'qituvchi.
just monitorda.
Birinchi instruction beradimi?
Teacher's role dedikki passive bo'ladi. What does teacher
O'sha aytaman, birinchi instruction berib, keyin chetga chiqib monitor qilib o'tiradimi?
Review the process desakchi. Review the process. Jarayonni boshqarib turadi.
Monitoringda shu.
Monitoring bo'ladimi shu? Monitoring faqat kuzatish emas.
What does the teacher do to make sure that the students are ready to interact?
Nima dedik? Monitoring, ha?
Turga CLT dedimizda mana nima demoqchi? What does the teacher do to
Nima qiladi? Interaktiv qilishiga ishonch qolish uchun nima qiladi? Monitoring, noting,
Savol eting.
ko'rdi davom etyapti tepadagi.
Shu the students are ready
O'quvchilar real life interaktiv bo'lishi
Maybe give feedback. What about giving feedback?
yordam berish kerak o'zi. Shunda gapirib scaffolding.
manimchachi
Gives examples.
real life situationga aloqador conversationlar berish kerak. Agar o'sha conversationda o'shadan foydalansa real life situationga interact qilishga tayyor bo'ladi.
Gives examples.
monitoring orqali
Birinchisi
Support assessment.
scaffolding.
Bizlar real life bo'ladi.
O'shani aytmadi, real life situation beradi. For example, dialogue-ni nimadir qilish. Agar o'shanda interact qilsa, real life ishlatib oladi.
Shuni qanday kuzatadimi?
Kuzatadi dedik. Yozdik. Monitoring.
Gives examples desakchi. Misol beradi.
Maybe gives
Modeling.
shunaqa so'zlar yozib beradi ichiga.
Anachi sentence stem bersachi boshlanish nimalarini.
Yozib beradi.
For example, teacher gives some kind of examples and checks how their pupils understand the task.
For example, you are at the theater, you are at the shop deydi. Shuni davaydi, conversation davaydi. So'zi ikkalasi conversation react umuman activity task ikkalasi o'sha shopda gaplashsa, demak real life tayyor ishlab oladi. Activity deydi, real life activity. Content based instruction.
Bir foto kit.
Next quoting endi. You see these cerebrals, what kind of content would you use to set the rest of the
Mana shu bularda chalkashdim men. Sim based content based course, what kind of content would you use? If agent implemented in Uzbek public schools? Which school subjects could you incorporate into your English course? For example, many countries are beginning to offer STEM subjects as
Steam based
completely
computer is done clearly.
Enjoy learning'de terminolojiler ko'proq ishlaydilar. Chunki misol uchun STEAM fanlar bo'lingandan keyin, o'qilgandan keyin, to'g'rimi? Misol uchun anada
bunda qiziqishiga ko'ra tanlaydimi?
mana shu IT texnologiyasi ishlaydigan so'zlarni shunday o'rganadi.
Misal, for example,
Adjunct degan moslashtirishni o'zgartirishmi?
for example, in 8th class, we have some skill connected with a skeleton. Skeletler bilan mavzu. Ishlarni mana shu skillda qilyapti. Integrated bo'lyapti. Misol keltiring deyapti. It can be lesson connected with biology or physics. Some still
Choosing according to
Interest ketyapmi?
subject'da enjoy qilingan subject alohida seçish olasiz.
skelet haqida ma'lumotlar. IT sohasi tushadi. Is it possible to implement it?
Bas. Menga yetib kelgani yo'q ana shu narsa, ikkita turyapti. Ha, oltimi?
Are you guys finished? Are you guys finished?
Not yet.
Okay, hurry.
Tasdiqda o'zi create qilish kerakmi?
I'm going to ask you to pick things, so just wait. You're going to be my helper.
Boyagi plus minus tomonlari bo'lgan shundan olsak bo'lmaydi.
Okay, I know you're finishing up. That's okay, because I'm going to hurry you up a little bit so we don't run out of time, okay? So I just hope you don't get question 7. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. Before, she's just going to help me because I picked her out of a hat. This type of putting heads together, what it's called, is a good way to get students to all do work when especially you have large classes and you're trying to involve all students, okay? So those are some ideas, ways to involve all students. So before we do it, last thing that I need you to do as part of the management of this activity, within your group, I need you to count off numbers. So for example, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So who is number 6 in this group? Who is number 4? Okay, like this. So within your group, please count off yourself. Okay? Just like I modeled, yeah? Okay. Everybody within your group, raise your hand if you're 1. If you're 1 in the group. Okay. Raise your hand if you're 4. In the group. Okay. What am I doing right now? This is management. I'm not giving feedback and I'm not monitoring.
It's possible, but it's difficult.
Some of you were not sure. This is classroom management. Another thing before we do the activity, raise the hand if you're in group 1. Where's group 1? Table 1. Actually, this time I started
Bize maske fok.
just for fun, we're going to change it. So you were group 1. Who was group 2? Group 3. Group 4. 5. 6. 7. Very good. So our question number 1 are 4 language skills, right? So Nargiza is going to help me pick a group, okay? So that group, and then she's going to pick a number of a person in that group, will answer that question. Sounds good? So this way, it's random and everybody is involved as much as possible, okay? So, now you can look. That's okay. So, group 1, and pick another one. Who is in group 1, number 7? All right, please, so briefly, it doesn't have to be complicated answer. The question, read the question. Everybody read this already, right? So we don't need to read it together. But just read the question for us and what is your group's answer, yeah?
Can you say what other subskills for me for the following skills of reading, writing, speaking, and listening?
Okay.
For speaking skills, keep eye contact.
What is it? One more time?
Eye
While
contact.
speaking, keeping eye contact
Okay, so you think that's a sub-skill, okay?
can be one subskill, and in listening, predicting can be subskill.
Okay, what's for that one? I'm gonna write something for you, yes? Well, I couldn't hear you.
Predicting for right,
So what is sub-skill for writing? What did you have sub-skill for writing?
for writing, mind mapping.
Okay, mind mapping for writing, okay, good. What about for reading?
For reading, guessing unknown words from the context.
Okay, and what's left?
For listening, predicting.
Okay, do you guys agree? Do you have some other answers?
Some extra.
Some extra, give us some extras. Some people were confused about this idea of sub-skills.
Yes, we have some confusion, but
Sorry.
we have exact answer on reading. For instance, scanning and skimming can be sub-skills.
Yes, so I'm gonna show you some ideas in just a second.
But for other skills, we have.
Thank you, you can have a seat.
We have confusion that is it an activity or
A
just
skill, or,
skill?
yeah, and you know, again, a lot of things, we have different terms for similar things. Something could be a skill, and then you can turn it into an activity. So sometimes one thing could be more than one thing.
Or like strategy.
Or it could be a strategy, right?
For instance, for writing, paragraph writing can be just, or it is like an activity, yeah?
Yeah, it's part of substance. Now, it's an activity. So if you just say paragraph writing, that's not an activity. Activity means, and I'll tell you the difference. Activity must have directions. It must have like, what exactly will you do? Now, if you say, okay, please write a paragraph about your summer, that's an activity. But in general, paragraph writing is a sub-skill. So an activity needs little more components, yes? It needs to have directions, it needs to have what will happen, what are you doing, what is the outcome. Okay, thank you, but you're all on the right track. I just want to clarify one more thing. What are the systems again? Okay, and grammar involves all the skills, right? It's like the umbrella. The skills, we have 4 skills. You all know those skills, yes? Within skills, all it's asking, you don't need to make it more complicated. How do we use these skills? So let me give you some ideas. Did you have another idea? Yes.
I would like to add some sub-skills for listening.
Uh-huh.
Listen selectively, listen to details, listen for
I love those.
Maybe extensive and intensive listening.
Yes, those could be it too. Let me show you some ideas here, for example. Those are just some ideas, yes, not all. So under reading, we have things like skimming, scanning, yes? Deducting meaning. Those are sub-skills. That means if you're teaching the skill of reading, if you want somebody to have good reading skills, how do you teach them? You teach them by scanning, by inferring attitude, yes? Sub-skills just means how do you do it, yeah? You can think of it as under, or you can think of it as a tree with branches. So for speaking, for instance, intonation, nonverbal communication, all of those are speaking skills. But sub just means it's part of the speaking skill. So check your answers, and did you have something similar?
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is not a comprehensive list. What does that mean it's not comprehensive?
Understandable.
No. Comprehensive means it's not all the answers. You can have more than this. In this sense, comprehensive has two meanings. Here it means it's not all the answers, it's some of the answers.
I think summarizing can be sub-skill for both writing and reading.
I agree with you, yes, because if you read, you can summarize the reading, but if you write it down, then it's a writing skill.
Yes.
But you're right, you're using reading to do it. But you're actually, the skill is writing.
Yes.
So her question or her comment is really good. Did you guys understand that?
Yeah.
And that would be integrated skills. So you could say it's integrated, yes.
Can we add brainstorming as a sub-skill in writing?
I think brainstorming is part of writing, yes. Would you agree that brainstorming is part of writing? Yeah, more so than any other. It's more writing than anything else, yeah? Is that clear, the idea of sub-skills? Okay, can we move to the next question? Nargiza, please pick a group. Oh, group 7. Who is group 7? You, and now you're going to pick a person. Now the reason we pick a person, because sometimes when you do an activity as a group, the spokesperson that you choose is always the same person, correct? It's always usually the same student. This way, everybody has to kind of participate, yeah? All right. 6, yeah. 6, who is number 6? All right, so the second question was, what was the second question about?
Can you think of an activity that requires students to practice both a skill and a system?
Okay, everybody's clear on system and a skill, right?
Yes.
What did you guys think about?
We wrote one activity here, running dictation activity. Students practice their grammar and phonology by speaking and writing.
Okay, so tell us how. Give me a little bit of a rundown. Why? At which point?
So when people go and come back, when
Uh-huh.
he or she remembers the word, she remembers the grammar structure, and they can pronounce correctly in order to hear classmates write correctly the word.
Perfect. Good job. That's a great example where she's using definitely the system and the skill, right? Somebody else has another one?
Yeah.
We have to move on quickly because we have to get through all 7.
Yes.
So actually, we're going to move on, and I'm sorry about that. Only because then I can't get through the other things.
Group 6.
Group 6, lucky you. Are you excited?
Student 4.
Student 4. Actually, before you say something, I'm sorry, I was going to show this to you. For 2, I want to show you some ideas, possible ideas that we had. So anything that focuses on speaking to communicate and grammatical accuracy, just some ideas if you want to, and I can send this to you on the Telegram too. I'll just do that, okay? All right, so let's go to question 3. I think it's question 3.
practice both reading and writing in the same lesson about the same topic. How about writing and listening or reading and speaking? Well, we wrote dictogloss and retelling, stand and stray.
Okay, tell me about the second one. About retelling, is it the one? Dictogloss.
Dictogloss and read and retell.
Actually, go ahead and explain dictogloss. How does dictogloss use integrated skills?
Well,
Or whichever one you want. I just want to I want to hear how.
teacher reads something
Mhm.
and we listen and we write.
Okay,
And
so
we
it's
can
listening.
Listen and write. And we can read to our partner.
Okay, good. Good. So there are probably many possible answers, right? Thank you very much. Here's some ideas for you, but there are many ways we can incorporate all, if not all, more than two, correct? There's some possible answers behind you. Thank you. All right, next group.
Group 5.
Who is group 5? All right, which student?
Student 3.
Okay. Tell us the question here. You can hold that. Yeah, the fourth question. Is everybody clear so far? Yes? Okay,
Okay,
good.
what is the role of the teacher in CLT? What does the teacher do to make sure the students are ready to interact in real life situations?
Okay, so first of all, in your own words, can you tell us what is CLT?
Okay, this is a method, or we can call approach. It's
Yes.
mainly based on interaction and communication.
Perfect.
And in this learning process, students should be in the center.
Good.
Teacher, as I think, just control the students just without interrupting their communication and giving feedback. And also classroom management is the main role during the
Okay,
process.
do you think feedback is a main role?
Yes.
Not during, not in CLT.
Not during, just after the production. After
Yeah.
the production.
After feedback is always good, right? But during this approach, it's actually really important that teacher kind of stands back, yes? And tries, is kind of more of a facilitator.
Teacher should try to be invisible during the communication.
Perfect. So possible answers, teacher acts as a facilitator, providing comprehensible input, setting up situations for authentic interaction. Yeah?
Yes.
Great, good job. And in this approach, it's really important that you try to teach the way language is actually used. So this is where you try to use idioms. You try to use interactive situations where students can practice the way language is actually used. Maybe cultural situations, yeah? What would you do if this happened, or what would you do if that happened? Okay, very good, nice job. Next one, please.
Group 5.
Uh-oh, new one.
New one, I also. Let's take the new one. Or second.
This is where the system fails us.
Group 2.
Okay, group 2, raise your hand. Show me how excited you are to answer. Okay.
Participant number 1.
You can put those numbers back because, yeah.
Participant number 1.
Okay, perfect. So first, actually, sorry to interrupt. Can you tell us in your own words, what is CBI?
This is a type of lesson that goes from easy to difficult one, yeah?
No, what is CBI? What does it stand for?
Student content, yes.
Content-based instruction. Okay, good. So now tell us the question.
In a theme-based CBI course, what kind of content would you use for secondary school learners of English in Uzbekistan?
Yes.
And if Anjan CBI were implemented in Uzbek public school with regular school subjects, could be incorporated into your school courses. I think almost every school has
Okay, so do you guys understand CBI?
Confused.
Let's spend a little bit of time on this because it's a newer idea, but before I tell you, let's hear from you. Yeah, whoever wants to go first, I'll come to you as well. Go ahead. It's okay.
As I see CBI is when content is chosen according to people's interests and interests.
Yeah, so that's one thing. You choose content according to what people are interested in. Yes.
There are two types of content-based instruction. According to theme-based learning, teacher chooses content, but in adjunct learning, we can see this process in presidential school nowadays because
Okay.
STEM subjects are taught
Okay.
in English.
Okay.
They learn
Let's listen to her and then you can.
they learn subjects through learning.
Okay.
It's
So this is a very, very popular method in US. And basically the idea is instead of like coming into an English class and saying, I'm going to teach you, I don't know, how to buy ice cream or how to go to post office or how to go to grocery, all these situations. This is what we do in English class. Instead of this, why don't I just teach you what you're already learning? What you're already interested in. Let's say you want to be an engineer, or you want to be a mathematician, or you want to be biologist. Why don't I just teach you what you're learning already, but use English? So instead of come up with this idea, like scenarios that don't exist, yes, about like a neighbor or whatever, right? Different ideas that we come up with in English classes. Instead of this, why don't we just use what you're already learning in other classes and just use English and teach you English this way? When this idea was first introduced, it was kind of revolutionary. Because people were like, yes, why not? Why are we teaching this fake scenarios? Why don't we just say, okay, I have the students, they all want to be biologists, yes? For example, or it doesn't have to be that they want to be biologists, but it's a biology class. Why don't we teach biology, but then let's dedicate half of the class, or 30%, or whatever the decision is, and do biology through English. So they're learning English and they're learning biology. So this way, what they're learning is through a new language. Now this is difficult initially, in the beginning stages, but it depends what kind of biology you teach. You can teach high-level biology or you can teach English through basic biology. So then you talk about plants or animals or whatever it is, yes?
It means giving some text according to the same
Theme. Yeah, so the theme, so this word content is same as theme. This is same word, basically, in this situation.
I mean STEM subject,
STEM.
STEM subject.
So what is STEM? You can use this anywhere. You can go into an art class. It doesn't have to be STEM. So imagine it's an art class, art history class, and you go in and you teach art through English. So this is an approach that Palestine actually, as a whole, Palestine is big, yes? It includes West Bank and Gaza. They have this approach. So everything they teach, and this is what I was doing there, everything that they teach through their content. Because their idea is that they want to have their students be able to do all their subjects in English because they must compete with Israel, yes? They want students to speak in English. So instead of teaching them English as this separate thing, they're like, no, let's just teach it through the subjects. It's a new approach. You can't change the system, and maybe it's changing in presidential schools, but you don't have to change the system. You can use this approach, maybe, in your own classes. So you can find out. Yes, so let's say your students are studying geography, yes? Okay, so let's choose geography though. You go to geography teacher, and you say, hey, can you tell me what you're covering in 7th grade? What are the topics you're covering? You bring those topics to your class, and instead of introducing new ideas to your students about, again, your chapters are organized by themes. Instead of those themes, you use the themes things they're already using. So their brain is already thinking, maybe in geography they're learning geography of Uzbekistan, Australia, yes. So instead of new ideas, you say, okay, I know you're already learning about Australia. So let's learn English through talking about Australia. Then you go to history class and you talk to a history teacher and you do the same thing. So you introduce the themes that your students are already learning. It's really kind of amazing if you do it because your students are so excited because it's helping them with other subjects, but they can talk about it and think about it in English. So I just want to make sure you understand this concept because it's super interesting. Yes, everybody can say something, but let's start back there.
I want to ask, Kirby says that content-based instruction looks like the ESP, English for
Yes,
specific.
yes, you can. So ESP is English for specific purposes. Usually we use this later, like when somebody has already learned English, but they want to make their learning specific. So like sometimes I will go to a country and they'll say, we want you to just work with the businessman. And they want to learn business English. Okay? So that's ESP. So it's a very similar idea. The difference is ESP is usually with people that already have some English, but they want to learn like business terminology or medical school. Like if I go to medical school and teach English just for medical school. But it's very similar. Yes?
Also, we can connect it with Clio method content and then we integrate it with
Yes.
because this is
Oh, we have a visitor. I forgot some things, so thanks, babe. Yep.
with Clio method content and then integrate it with because we should connect our English with other subjects.
Yes.
History,
Yes. Right. You guys, let's listen. Exactly, and the idea is that the students are actually benefiting because you're teaching, like you're one big system. You're not the separate systems, you're one big system. And also, you can have really nice collaborations with other teachers. And maybe you can't do it with every subject, but maybe you can do it at least with one subject.
Nowadays it's a very big problem because when our students pass and IELTS or TOEFL test, they come across with reading task, which is connected with chemistry, connected with physics, and they don't know lack of vocabulary, they don't know
Exactly,
English.
right.
That's why I would recommend you should organize a shared concentrated
Exactly.
instruction with
Right. And don't decide on your own what it should be. Talk to what they're actually learning. Talk to other teachers.
in our class, of course, we have some topics from biology, some dinosaurs.
Right. But it's not connected.
No, it's very short.
Well, one, it's not enough, but usually it's not connected to whatever that class is learning. Because what your 5th grade is learning is not the same as what your 8th level is learning.
We have very close people who knows in chemistry or maybe physics well,
Yeah.
but they cannot express it in English.
Yes.
And this is a very barrier.
It is. This is why when I meet tourists, yes, in Uzbekistan, they can talk to me only about one thing.
Can I share my experience?
Yes, yes, and then if they were learning more like it is taught in Palestine now, it's a new method in Palestine, it's brand new. They can talk about many different things. Yeah? Yes, please.
Actually, I'm working now in this residential school and all subjects taught in English. And I did my class English combination with other subjects.
Mhm.
Only Uzbek history and geography
Mhm.
were taught in Uzbek. And we had a party with geography teacher, geography with English,
Great.
and history with
Yes.
English. And we made some new kind of a small party. We had a Jeopardy game, mapping, finding some countries, something like
great.
that, like interactively something.
So you combined
Yeah,
different
we
things.
combined language and history.
Uh-huh.
It was a project work. They visited to Chankawat, some touristic sites, and made their own presentations, short video clips. After coming back in history lesson, yes, they should walk around, see, learn everything related to that place, these sites, and after coming back, they should make up
their small video clips
Great.
or kind of things in English.
Great.
And
So it's combining, so it's exactly what she's saying, but the CBI does this the whole time. Not just at the end, not just, it's a method of teaching, right? It's not just for like one event, yes? It's a method of teaching. Okay, last comment and then we have to move on, okay? Yes. But I'm glad that you're interested because it's really good, interesting ideas, yeah.
I want to clarify.
Yes.
For example, the theme-based approach used based on the interest of students, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken, for example, students are interested in history, and the teacher should select all the students and go to somewhere. For example, Muqaddas Madrasa, let's say.
If you want, that's one activity, sure.
Theme-based approach, right?
Correct. That would be an example of it, yes.
And adjunct learning, it's as we say in Russian, узкий специализм, target summits, or target subjects.
Adjunct does not mean target. That's not the translation. Adjunct means next to.
next to
Together.
Near.
Near each other.
Of the subject.
Together, yes.
Together. For example, biology class. Students will learn biology through English.
Exactly. Exactly. But you're correct. The first one is more you pick a theme that your students are interested in. Second one is actually teaching through a subject. Okay? All right, last comment and then we need to move on.
I want to ask a question.
Yes.
For example, for adjunctive learning, my activity should be built on according to this
Yes.
subject. Yes, am I right?
Yes.
For example, if I choose geography,
Yes.
like you said, for example, Australia, my activity should be built on the about Australia.
Yes.
Am I right?
And you
This
wouldn't,
is-
yes, that's it, but you don't pick Australia because you like Australia. How do you pick Australia?
you will pick it according to the needs of students.
Because that's what students are already learning. That's the point. You don't pick it just because it's geography. You find out what they're already learning, yes? What is the subject they're covering, and you teach through those subjects.
And also we have to get into the interest.
Yes, so that's why there's two. So there's two different ideas. One is theme-based, right? And one is adjunct learning. Theme-based is what they're interested in. This is different. This is you find out, okay, they're interested in history.
Maybe
So I'm going to
sports,
teach,
yes.
or sports,
Or cooking.
or cooking. So you teach, so you find out, guys, please listen. You find out what they're interested in, so you have all these people that are interested in cooking, so you teach English through cooking, yes? That's theme-based. Adjunct-based is you actually learn what they're learning in other subjects. This is a little bit different, but they're both content-based. You don't want to move on.
Instruction lessons, we should also know about science, technology.
Some, yes, some.
Mathematics, because the textbooks are very complicated in Uzbek lessons, such as
Yeah,
mathematics.
yeah, you need to know some. But you wouldn't be teaching complicated English. So you would just decide, okay, what is it that they're generally covering, and teach the basic things in English about that. I'm going to give you an example. So in United States, for example, I work at a university there, yes? And I teach in engineering department. Now, I'm not an engineer by profession. I'm a linguist, yes? But I teach in the engineering department, and I adjunct teach. So the way we do it, I'm just sharing this because it might be interesting to you. I teach together with an engineering professor. I go in for half of the class, he goes in for the other half. Sometimes I do one day, he does other day. He teaches engineering content. Theme, right? I don't teach engineering.
What about you, Mark?
What about what?
You mark.
My mark? How do I mark?
Yes, because you have to get
Well, I haven't told you yet what I teach. So let me first tell you what is it that I teach. So he, and I say he because it's a man, but of course it could be a woman, but I teach with a man, and he teaches content. I teach English. Now, I'm talking about Americans, right? I teach English to Americans. up with research questions, how to write articles, how to do presentations, because they want to go to PhD programs, right? Or they want to get jobs. I teach them how to prepare their resumes. I teach them how to talk about their research. Many engineers do amazing research, but they can't talk about it. You ask them, what is it that you study?
General. It means that you teach them English as an academic purpose.
I teach them English as academic purposes. So, I grade them according to that. So if they're doing a presentation, I grade. Now, everything that I teach during my time, my 30 minutes or my 45 minutes, is connected directly with what the professor teaches. I don't say, come up with an idea. I say, okay, I know your research, so yes, I must study their research. I've had to learn some engineering, but not in detail, yes? I come up, I tell them, okay, tell me what's your research, we're gonna come up with a research question. So everything that I teach as an English teacher is connected to what he teaches as an engineering professor. So this is an example of adjunct teaching. Instead of some universities, they say, no, 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 engineering is separate, and then you have separate English class. In this kind of university, I would go in the class and I would just teach English. I would teach the same things, presentations, research questions, but I would just come up with topics. Yes, but there it's combined, and people believe that it's more beneficial because the students are actually working on their interests. It's about their research. Okay, can we move on? Is it clear? Okay. Huh? Target science? Yes. Sure, yes, it's about specific science. You can combine it with any science. It's not clear to you? What's the question? She's confused, so let's make sure I can answer this question. Guys, I can't hear her. Everybody, thank you.
I was aware that in America they have this kind of learning system. But we call it in Russia specialism, target science.
Okay.
But you said no, this is not target science. And now you're explaining this is the target science.
So universities here, I don't know what you call it, but universities here do not combine in one class science and Russian in one class. Do they?
No. Never. Never.
So this is combination.
But in Uzbekistan, we don't have this kind.
I know you don't, so I'm teaching you something. Yes, I'm giving you a theory that exists in America. I'm not talking about Uzbekistan.
Toshkentda mana 5 soatlik darslar bor. Hujumlarni. Toshkentda bor universitet. To'g'ri chiqsak.
Biology on sense organs, and we talked about sense organs, and I have learned the field.
For example, yes.
Then we have non-traditional lesson. We had then I brought the area salt, sugar, and such kind of sense organs to test their tests, and I wrap up their head and eyes. Then we test it and smell it like that. It smells. They should use present simple. In
Yes.
this way.
So this would be
combining biology with present simple.
Yes, so that is an example, but the little bit difference is that you actually find out what they're really learning in biology. You don't just come up as an English teacher, but you learn what they're actually learning.
But you learn organs of senses.
Yeah, and you help them what they're learning already. So your class is at 10, you find out what they're learning at 9, and you help them what they're learning through English. This is amazing. But yes, so when you say target language, yeah, this is more like ESP. So yeah, of course you have target language, but this is just combining it together. Okay, yeah.
I think for us, for English teachers, it's very hard to study other subjects like physics, chemistry, and
You don't have to study
yes.
it.
I think that we should give that project more to our pupils.
Guys, can we listen, please? I'm sorry.
12 participants in our lessons. We can divide it into 3 groups by 4 members in each group and give them tasks for this group. Some topic from biology, for example, wildlife of Africa.
Yeah.
This group about geography.
You can also do that.
This group about ancient monuments of our country, or maybe Egypt, maybe. And we give them around 1 week time for the next lesson when we have next week. They should present them.
Yes.
And we will, if we have 3 groups in one group, 4 participants, the task will be distributed. One will be responsible for drawing posters, one for finding information from the internet, one for vocabulary, one for using grammar.
Yes, now.
And then they will all combine, and for the next lesson they will present, and by listening to this presentation, we can learn, our teachers learn from our learners.
Sure, yes.
Words and phrases in history, biology, chemistry, physics.
Great. You already do this. This is a little bit different. Yes. You already do this.
As he said that we will give to our students to make the projects, yes? Maybe it's near to the project-based instruction.
That's a little bit different. That's what I was trying to say, yes. Now, you're all correct. So by the way, I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. I'm just telling you about different theories. You don't have to do anything if you don't want. Yeah, but it is something that works in a lot of countries. And when I go to those countries and I meet students, they're able to talk to me about many topics. So I'm telling you this because it's beneficial. I'm not telling you this because it doesn't work, yeah? Because I know you want Uzbek students to also compete with other international students in English, okay? So exactly what you're saying is correct. It's different things. The only extra thing is that you collaborate with the whole school. That it's not, you're not just deciding, okay, biology here, this, right? You're collaborating with the learning that already happens. So you talk to other teachers and you figure out what they're learning and you help them understand their material through English. This is the only difference. You help them understand what they're already learning, but through English. But otherwise, it's exactly that. Now, we are going to get to project-based in just a second. Okay, good job. I like that you have lots of questions. Yes? Because I know it's new ideas. I know that. All right, can we go to the next one?
Yes. Group 3.
All right. What's the next group? Pick for us.
Group 3. Group 3.
Group 3, all right.
Participant 4.
Okay, what is TBL?
Task-based learning. This is teacher explains like from easier task to difficult one.
Okay.
And with the help of scaffolding or like providing feedback to the. And the question is
Yes.
it possible to implement a pure TBL method with the classes we teach now? Why or why not? I think that this is possible to implement this TBL method with the help of different scaffoldings. As we have learned before, we have different types of them: sensory, interactive, and graphic scaffoldings.
Yes.
And it's also effective if you transfer these activities or this one to the real life, to connect them with real life situations.
Good. Okay. Is TBL clear to you guys? This is also a different way of teaching. Did you have a comment really fast? Yes.
Yes, can we say that as an example, our task for the task-based learning? For example, we are doing the task and you are controlling us and you are giving some feedbacks and you
Yes.
are not correcting us, just
Yes.
giving the feedback.
By the way, this is a very highly controlled task, what we're doing. You might, what we're conducting is a highly controlled task, yes? Because it's very specific things I'm asking you to do. But yes, that would be an example. Okay, anybody have anything else to add about TBL? Yes.
As she said, the teacher should conduct the lesson, the task according to the from the real life conditions. For example, I mostly use not mostly, but sometimes I give
recite for some groups. Before that, I divide the groups, and their task will be the one group should write the recite, for example, and then the process of the making process of the food, and they should show how to do it.
Good. Okay, so it's a specific task that you give students. Usually task-based learning is very inductive, right? It makes sense how it would be inductive, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's see the next one. We're almost to the last one, I believe.
Group 2.
Who did not go yet? Yes? Okay.
Oh. Again one? 3 also, I think.
Did we skip one? Did I skip one?
4. Yeah, group 4. Participant 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Last one.
Okay, guys. First, I want him to tell us, Alisher, yeah? I want Alisher to tell us what is project-based learning, instruction. In fact, what Kamal was describing, if you were listening and heard, was the project-based. But can you tell me in your words, what is project-based instruction?
So project-based instruction is a similar way to TBL.
Okay.
But I couldn't catch the meaning. I couldn't hear the meaning of TBL because I was outside.
Oh, let's help him out. Let's help him out really quickly. Who wants to tell him what is TBL?
TBL is the task-based learning. You should give a task for your students, and they have to do it.
It should be done during the lesson.
During the lesson.
But project work
is,
yes, outside. For example, for
Role play.
So you can almost guess from the word. So what's the big difference, right? We have the word task
and project,
and then we have project.
Project should take a longer time than the task.
Usually, project takes longer time. Okay?
Project takes a short time.
No,
Short time.
project usually, it could take up to a semester. Sometimes it could just take a week, 2 weeks. It's a longer It could be assignment. You're not done, Alisha. I'm so sorry. Okay, so tell us, what was your question? Yes.
For example,
So what would be a good example?
Imagine you are going to assign a project in this small group of students have to create a tourist video for their own or see each post on YouTube. What language skills and vocabulary would you need to teach them to help them successfully complete the project?
Okay, so
in that case, I can use listening, speaking, writing skills.
So can you give me an idea from your group of a project that you could do?
Idea.
Another one.
Yes, another one. Something from your group that you decided. Like what could be a kind of project you could assign to a class?
It can be poster maybe.
Okay,
For
poster.
example, if our topic advantages and disadvantages of, it can be smoking maybe, if it's high level pupils, and we can give to prepare poster, we can divide them and we can set a time.
Okay, do you guys think, sorry to interrupt, do you think poster and project is part of a project or a task? It's a task. So what is a project then?
Project is something in real life.
Okay, so if you have such projects, give me an example.
Can I add something?
Yes, you may.
Let's imagine you give a project work as a one-day life in a hotel. As a group, we organize it after the class maybe, and take some video records. Beforehand, you gave us some topic vocabulary related to these videos and clip, and we'll do it after the lesson.
Okay, yes. So So let me make it really.
takes time more longer than during the class.
That's exactly it. So, as Gasher said, it basically has steps. That's all it is. I mean, you don't need to make it more complicated. One project often has more than one task. It's literally, and if you read it, right, it talked about how it's just longer. So I'm going to give you an example, okay?
Can I say something?
You can, but can I explain it first? Yes, go ahead, yes. Yes, give us an example.
We did one project work like this. We take four, there was famous people in the US.
Mhm.
Black History Month, we took 4 people and we gave it as a project to
Mhm.
students, like a flipped classroom. They have to work on themselves, on these 4 people. All information, teacher will not put anything, just the
Mhm.
topic. And students will search themselves, they will try to find the information, who are they, what kind of things they did, why they are so famous, anything else. And they will prepare their, maybe post presentation, maybe video,
Okay.
maybe role play, maybe kind of a show,
Mhm.
something like this for acting out.
Mhm.
And then after 2 weeks, we will
Okay.
give the assignment 2 weeks before. After 2 weeks, they will show and demonstrate their ready material, everything to the audience. And then you can do some feedback or anything else. Teacher will be here just facilitator and monitor everything. And they share the ideas that they can learn this whole person, but each group will be responsible for one. So you can adapt it anything that you like.
So that's fantastic. The only thing that's correct, the only thing I want to add that it has different components. It's not just something you give and they just do it at the end. It has different parts. So often project will be graded for different things. So you can say, okay, you have 2 months, for example, to finish. But every week, I'm going to ask you to do something different toward that final project. This is the difference between, for instance, doing a poster, which is one task, yeah? But if you say, I want you to come up with, talk about this famous people, right? By end of 2 months, you're going to present it. But first week, I want you to write a description. And second week, I want you to summarize it. And third week, I want you to do a short presentation as a practice. And fourth week, I want you to draw it or something, right? It has different components. And the idea of the project is that it helps your students to stay on the same theme. So you're still teaching everything you're going to teach, right? You're still integrating all the skills under all the systems, right? All the sub-skills, but you're not jumping from topic to topic. You're just having one project for example, the whole semester or for a whole week. There's no rule about this, right? It could be for a couple weeks, it could be for a whole semester. So, yes? Yeah.
Well, I just want to clarify this
Mhm.
between task-based and project.
Mhm.
For example, task-based is that teacher gives some task and the students should do it. And project is covered presentation, assignment, task, what else? And which is covered in many companies.
Yeah, basically it just takes longer. It just takes longer. So presentation could also be a task. Yeah?
This is another task.
Presentation could be a
Project is covered.
Yeah, so presentation by itself could be a task, or if it's part of something bigger, it could be part of the project. Project just means it's longer. That's all it means. So if you read this, right, it literally just says project just means it's longer. It takes longer time. It's something that cannot usually be done in one lesson. Okay?
Task is done in one lesson.
Usually task is done in one lesson. We don't give a task and say, sometimes you could say, let's finish tomorrow, but usually you finish the task. Yes?
Can I give an example?
Yes.
You have watched the Freedom Writers film?
Yes, I have.
It's about the teacher, Freedom Writers. The teacher has a goal, like to create a book. And
Yeah.
she just slowly goes to that goal.
Yes.
She gives the journals, they do the change toasts and discos and concerts, everything. So they do the meeting with that lady, and in the end they print a book about their own life. This kind of project
tasks.
Yes. Through tasks, you go to that goal and that purpose. In one
And the
topic.
final, one topic, and the final product could look like a task. I mean, but you just have to be flexible. I'm sorry?
Difference between task-based learning and project-based learning in terms of group.
Instead of grouping,
Yes, pair work, group work, individual work.
you can mix it up. So usually, project is done by a group. Yeah? So usually a group works on the same project for a long time. Now, if you assign a project for a whole semester, during that semester, it doesn't mean they only work together. You can, within the semester, also do many different things. When you do a project-based instruction, it doesn't mean you just have one thing that whole class. You can still do other things, right? But yes, project-based is usually a group work. And the final result, it could look like a task. So the very final thing could be a book. Now you can make a book in one lesson if you want, a simple book. We'll do it next week. Or you can make a book by end of the semester. Do you understand the difference? So the final thing could look like a task. The final project could be a presentation. The final project could be a poster if you've been working on it for a whole month. But it'll be more complex, right? Because maybe it'll have different elements. Is that more clear?
Yes.
It's actually less difficult than I think you're making it. Because all it really means that it just takes longer. So to give you an example again of in Palestine, for example, all learning there was project-based. So at the beginning of the English class, for a whole semester, we decided that we're going to identify specific problems. The students will identify problems in West Bank that they could potentially fix. Okay? The details don't matter. This was the idea. What are some problems that, for instance, traffic, right? Or there's many problems, but let's use traffic as an example. And they spent, and this is English class, okay? They spent a whole semester as that group figuring out things about traffic. And there's like 10 different problems, right? Because 10 different groups. And the group that had traffic, they had to research traffic. They had to go talk to people that work in traffic office or transportation office. They had to figure out the routes, why there's traffic, could there be buses instead of so many cars. They had to figure out, can businesses, instead of all starting at 9 o'clock and some start at 8, some 9, some 10. So they had many tasks during the semester. And some of those tasks used different skills. Sometimes they had to go figure out something and come back with a report. Other times they had to read an article about it. Sometimes they had to present. Yes? So many different skills were used. As a result, many sub-skills were used, right? And of course, they were using all the systems. So the final project, the very final project was actually a presentation about the whole semester. So the final project, because it's a presentation, was also a task. But it was accumulation of all the knowledge from the semester. That would be a project. But you can teach English through project because they can use so many different skills. Yeah? Yes?
So every day, daily, we have a daily lesson, and in 1 hour or at least in one day, we are doing our lessons and accomplishing our tasks, right?
Yeah.
So this is task-based learning.
Yes.
So Armin is recording video every day and combining
Yes.
and making a video and putting Telegram. This is a project-based.
Yeah, you can think of it that way. Yeah. If he has an
Taking long
idea.
time.
Yeah.
To record and to prepare,
Yeah.
to finish.
I think often when we talk about different things in this room, and maybe it's a product of education, but often you really like to have categories. But I always say this here, I say it at least twice a day, I think. Things are not black and white. Some things are more flexible, right? And a lot of things we talk about could be more than one thing. And if that's difficult for you, that's actually how language works. English can be more than one thing. There's more than one answer. So something could be a project and a task, right? There could be more than one approach to the same method, right? So try to think, give some flexibility to yourself and your understanding of things to know that, like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how that's more of an approach versus theory, but I can see how there's some similarities, and that's okay, okay? So same thing with project. Could it be, is it somehow a task? I mean, yes, but it's usually longer and includes many different steps. Did you have a comment before we move on? Yes. You can have a seat. Thanks.
According to your
Thank you
speech,
for your
that
help.
project is based on many different tasks.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes. Yes. It's a combination of many tasks. Yes. Does that help?
Yes.
And actually, that's in there. That's in your writing. That was in that paragraph. Okay, good.
Is there any fixed scheme of projects which we should follow?
No, honestly,
It
no.
depends on
Totally depends on you. I love projects. If you're ever interested in doing projects, talk to me. Mostly, I teach project-based classrooms. It's my favorite. I think it's more interesting. But there's not like a rule, no. There's different ways you can do it. It's up to you what your goals are as a teacher, yeah? Okay, can we move on?
Yes.
Yes, no, almost. Tell me.
I have some example for
Yes.
this project-based instruction. And during my student years,
Uh-huh.
our teacher gave us such kind of task. We had to go to school and we should learn teacher's role during the class, and we took interview the director of this school, and we did a slide about the whole our activities at that school. And after this our works, we did a slide, and after 3 weeks we presented our activities in front of the audience.
Okay, good. And did you? Uh-huh. Go ahead.
This is an example. Is
Yeah, that's project. Yeah, especially if you did different. Yeah. Especially if you did different things to prepare for it. Okay. Where are you sitting? She's also sitting. Yeah. Do you have people? No, she's sitting here. Okay, guys, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? I need you all, you know how we talk about, guys, I need your attention for a second. You know how we talk about that we want to be open-minded and flexible. You need to be flexible in your learning too.
like you, yeah?
Flexible, that means,
Sociable.
no, but sociable, yes, but flexible means be open to more than one way of thinking. And be open that, like, okay, this concept I understand, but okay, maybe it's not like exactly between these two lines. It's not only here. It's okay if it's here too. That's what's flexibility.
According to the situation, we may
Totally.
change our way.
Yes, flexibility means
Adaptable.
you're open to interpreting ideas in more than one way.
Open for change.
Yes, open to change and open to understanding ideas your own way. Because we're not teaching you math here. This is not math, yes? It's not always 1 + 1 = 2.
It leads to positiveness.
Yes, sometimes it's a little bit different. Okay, all right, good. Guess what we're gonna do next?
Making up a story?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. All right, so TBL, I think is the most confusing one to people, a little bit. And also, TBL is extremely popular in US, task-based learning. So I'm going to give you an example lesson of task-based learning. Sounds good? Before we do that, and to kind of give you some energy, yes? Everybody has a card. Pick a card. I have an extra one. Does someone not have a card? Okay, I thought so. Okay, everybody has a card, yes? Oh, then I'll take it. Somebody's missing. Who's missing? Oh, this is how I know if somebody's missing today. Okay, so, all right, so for this, you're going to find the people with the same number. Some of you have a handshake. If you have a handshake, you're going to find other handshakes. If you have a 5, you're going to find another 5, and so on. Before you start, you're going to get up and do this and try to get energy, yes, for last hour, but, I would like a handshake to sit here. Listen to me carefully. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
With our things.
With your things. You need to take chairs to the back.
We are city center.
You are. You're back to the center.
I am compensating.
Okay, yes. I have a name. My name is Tamrika. You do not need to call me teacher. Tamrika. Tell me. You just said teacher. You just said someone is talking. I'm imagining things. You didn't just say teacher? I'm imagining. Somebody did. Yeah, I like being called. I don't really student. You don't like? I know, so this is why we switch it up. This is why, actually, when we say that to them. All right, are you ready? Okay, we have to go kind of fast because we're behind, which is okay. Extra. By the way, guys, this is a card game John and I really like to play, so please, before you leave today, give it back to me. Otherwise, we can't play. And I'd be so sad if I can't play my card game. All right. So, yes, just text me and then you can come and play with us. Okay, guys. People in the back, can you hear me? No? Do you know why? Because you're not listening. Yes. Okay, so another reason, really quickly, another reason we do this switching is because this way some of you come to the front, some of you go to the back, because back is not fun, I know. And this is why we switch it. Because to do, alone first, read these 3 quotes. Do you see them? You have them in your book too, I think. And it's 3 different quotes about a good, oh, by the way, in case you missed it, I am giving you a TBL instruction right now. I'm the teacher, you are the students. Yes, okay, so I want you to read the quotes alone. So this is going to be think pair. And alone, I want you to come up with one word that describes each quote. So for example, let me give you an example. A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love of learning. A person by the name of Brett Henry said this. So what I want you to do as a task is Henry thinks that good teachers are, and think of one adjective. Just one adjective that describes a good teacher according to that quote. Clear? Yes. I want you to do this alone for about 3 minutes with each quote. Okay? Thank you. One word, just one word. See if you can do it. Any word that you think describes that quote. Okay, I'm giving you 1 minute for this, yeah? Not one. I am my own timekeeper today. Yes. Okay, so, but I need to stop. All right, so instead of sharing with me, we're doing think pairs. So what I want you to do, show me you have at least 2 elbow partners, but show me 1 elbow partner. Yeah, pick one. Pick 1 elbow partner, and 2 of you will have 2, that's okay. So share it with 1 or 2 people, some of the ideas that you came up with, and see if they're the same, okay? So with elbow partner. Yes, adjective. Adjective. Noun is Let me hear some of your ideas. What did you have?
Motivator.
Motivator. What else?
Instigator.
Facilitator.
Influential. Inspirator.
Supporter. Okay, very nice. What else? Instrumental.
Really?
Influencer.
But they are all nouns.
Nouns are okay. I said adjective, but that's okay. Influencer. What else? Winner. Builder. Builder. Very nice. Creator. What else? Director. Pedagogical. Okay. Pedagogical. Interesting. Okay. Professional. Okay, I have a question for you.
Flexible.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Okay, so I have a question. Let's talk about what this looks like in the classroom and if they're achievable. So, okay, let me just pick one. Supporter. What does a supporter teacher look like in the classroom? What do they do? They make scaffold. That's help. What else?
Positive feedback.
Maybe they're supported because they give positive feedback. What else do they do? They give motivation, so they're supported.
Models and how
They model. Okay, good. So that's what supporter teacher looks like. Now, is this achievable?
Yes.
It's achievable, yes? It's achievable to be a supporter. What about if we take a builder? What does a builder teacher look like in the classroom? They're creating something all the time. Okay.
Even great students.
Give us his material in build steps.
Okay, they give material in steps, not in crazy way, but in steps.
First foundation, then
Okay, she said they build students. This is an interesting idea, yeah? You build humans into something else they want to be.
Building friendly atmosphere in the classroom.
Okay, also building atmosphere, so building students, atmosphere, lessons. Okay, is this achievable? Where is the building? It's achievable, yeah? Okay, what about pedagogical? What does a pedagogical teacher look like in the classroom? Okay, somebody who is aware of methods. Okay, yes, somebody who is what? Somebody who understands psychology.
Philosopher.
Okay, maybe a philosopher, so they can instill the love of learning, yes? Okay.
someone who knows how to teach.
Okay, they're methodological. What does that mean? That means they go step by step. They build on information, because when we don't do that, it's really difficult, yeah? Okay, perfect, fantastic. What I want you to do now, instead of this, think as a group, as your table, think of as many as you can, adjectives or nouns, it's okay to use nouns, that you think, not just this quotes, this was somebody else's thoughts, yeah? That you think are the most important qualities in a good teacher. Okay? So, as a group, come up with as many as you can, as a group. Okay? You have 3 minutes for this. No, you don't have to create. Just come up with nouns and adjectives for the qualities that you think are most important for the teacher. The quote was just creative thinking. will learn, we'll